I have got something so exciting to show you guys today. I have a vintage burst Les Paul style guitar without the Gibson price tag. Check this thing out, guys. This is a Yamaki Performer. What a beautiful guitar. Before we talk about it, let's hear how it sounds. Whoa, that's a really cool sounding guitar, man. Hello everybody, Lucas Haneman here, and a very kind welcome to Guitar Tone Tuesday. I hope you guys are having a fantastic week so far. So this is a very, very, very rare guitar that I'm holding for you guys today. These Yamaki Performers are not common. It is very hard to find them, and I'm extremely lucky to be borrowing this guitar from a friend of mine this week. You know, Les Pauls and I don't always get along, and I think it's partially the weight, it's partially sometimes the way they feel in my hands, but man, this one just feels great. It feels great, and it's a vintage guitar. Yamaki Guitars was started off by this guy named Kazuyuki Teradaira, I hope I'm pronouncing that properly, in Japan. In 1967, he started off building traditional nylon string guitars. But at the very beginning of the 1970s, he got into what we know of for Yamaki guitars. He got into making steel string instruments. So he started making Martin replicas, Gibson replicas, but with Japanese craftsmanship. So they were very, very, very cool guitars. Often with cedar tops. I'm a really big fan of the Yamaki acoustic guitars. There aren't that many of them around the entire world, but where I come from in Canada, it seems like there's a lot of Yamaki guitars that were exported here. Now, even more rare than those acoustic guitars are these electric guitars. So In the mid-1970s, Yamaki started making solid body electric guitars. Strats, Tellys, and Les Pauls mainly. And this is a Yamaki Les Paul. Everything about this guitar screams Gibson Les Paul. Even the headstock shape. This is the exact headstock shape of a Gibson guitar. That's why they call it the lawsuit era, you know. So it's actually pretty amazing. I mean, this guitar, look at this top. It's beautiful. It's flamed, quilted, gorgeous sunburst finish. Kind of has that Jimmy Page vibe going on. This particular guitar, before my friend bought it, someone took the cover off this pickup right here and left the pickup on the cover on this one. If it were me, I would do it the other way around. I would actually, if I owned this guitar, I'd probably swap these pickups around or put this cover on this pickup. But man, looks the part for sure. We've got a beautiful maple top, as I say. We've got a beautiful rosewood fingerboard here with nice inlays. If we flip the guitar around, you'll see it's double bound. So this is kind of the Les Paul custom type vibe here. And the back, from what I can tell, is a single piece of mahogany. Very, very solid guitar. This guitar weighs a lot, you know, just like lots of the old Les Pauls, or even the new Les Pauls. It's not weight relieved. I would put it right around probably 10 pounds or so. So it's not ridiculous. Like there are some Les Pauls that weigh more than this one, but it's certainly a hefty beast. But man, listen to the sound of this thing. Wow. Just an amazing guitar. You know, it sounds fantastic. It really looks the part of the vintage guitars. It's finished in nitro. It really has that old guitar vibe. I mean, it might not come across on the camera as much, but certainly when I hold it, I feel it's got like that 59 Les Paul profile here on the neck. Really feels good. And you know, here's the crazy thing, guys. You know, this guitar was made about 15 or 16 years after the legendary bursts. This guitar, I'm going to put it right around 1975, because in 1976, apparently Yamaki changed the construction of how these pickups are mounted. They have they had a different mounting system. But 1975, it's 15 years after 1960, 1959, you know, 16 years before. You know, people are paying crazy money for vintage Gibson Les Pauls. I mean, of course they're great guitars. But man, this guitar was made 15 or 16 years later, you know. You know, for God's sakes, the Les Paul burst, the Gibson Les Paul wasn't even legal drinking age when this guitar was made. So, you know, you get a guitar with all those old components, the component drift and all that stuff that people talk about, you know, whether that's snake oil or not, I don't know. But you get the vintage feel, you know, it does feel like some of the old Gibsons I've played. And you get that thing, you know, like to me, it really has just that vibe of an old Les Paul. It's got the sustain, it's got that bite that like a Telecaster has. And it just sounds good. I mean, you could do all your Jimmy Page stuff on this, you know. It's got the vibe, man. It's got that vibe. You know, you could do your it does the, you know, the Clapton thing, you know. You know, all that stuff, man. You know, all that stuff. It sounds amazing, but when we compare the price, vintage burst costs like the amount that the house costs, you know. Whereas this guitar costs you only probably about $500. Yeah, $500, maybe $600. That's it. So anyways, I'll leave you guys on that. I want you guys to let me know, have you had the chance to spend any time with Yamaki guitars? And of the lawsuit era, what are your favorite guitars? That's about it for this week. We'll see everybody again next Tuesday.